Recent meetings of chief executives of leading visitor attractions and concert venues has flagged up a disturbing challenge. I wonder what you might suppose to be on the top of their problem list. Income generation? COVID-associated cancellations? Supply chain issues? Well, you'd be wrong. Right at the top of the problem list is audience behaviour. It seems that we've forgotten how to behave in public venues. Everything from hostility to staff, refusing to obey reasonable rules, to a lack of awareness of other audience and visitor members. The challenge has caused much scratching of heads and questioning as to why it should be that the normally docile and compliant average British visitor seems suddenly to have gone feral, punching staff, invading pitches, refusing to pick up after ourselves. Has COVID pandemic and lockdown caused us to forget how to behave? Or is it part of an increasing trend towards individualism and entitlement culture, causing us to refuse to accept constraints on what we regard to be our freedoms? Or are we simply responding to what looks like a lack of consequence for bad behaviour in public life? An outbreak of impunity? If they can get away with it, why can't I? Or perhaps a blend of all three. So, how to effect a reset, a reminder of the virtues that bind us without being accused of heavy-handedness or return to the nanny state? Last night I watched The Unseen Queen and reflected, not for the first time, on the strange train of events that projected into the glare of monarchy a reserved young woman, daughter of a younger brother, who might have hoped for a much quieter life, surrounded by dogs, horses, plenty of time in the country, all the things she loves. Instead of which, into the relentless glare, this most famous individual in the 20th and 21st century has become the recipient of all the twists and turns and projections of a rapidly changing century. Decline of empire, dawn of a post-war age, the reversal of almost all of the traditional mores of our bygone era. And if we suspected anything of the reluctance with which she's embraced the role thrust upon her, she's never given a hint of it in public. She's rather spoken of duty, of faith and service. She has stoically endured the glare of the limelight, has smiled continually through what must be most unendurable boredom of endless public events, has smiled through the invasion of her much-cherished privacy, has smiled through an annus horribilis, has attended to her red boxes every day of the year, even Christmas Day, we're given to understand, and has retained an astonishing grasp of detail and of the sweep of history through all the prime ministers who've served. Woe betide you if you receive an audience without having done your homework first. A friend, appointed as a High Commissioner to an African country, making his visit to kiss hands upon taking up his appointment, emerged at the end of the audience having received, well briefed though he was, something of a history lesson about the country he was about to go and serve. And all the while, this most private of people has retained a lightness of touch, a down-to-earth and necessarily tough focus on service and putting self second. They seem unfashionable today, those virtues, don't they? Faith, uncomplaining stoicism, self-effacing reserve, the determination to do one's duty, sheer hard work and commitment. But in the face of today's society, self-doubting, querulous, polarized, egotistical yet fragile, badly behaved, I have a sense that we might do very well to make a conscious effort, perhaps to appropriate more for ourselves some of those faith-inspired qualities that we celebrate during her Platinum Jubilee. God save the Queen.